Hello everyone, so we are going to start with this new video and this has 850 words. This passage has 850 words. Let's go through the passage. Attempts to explain prophecy must make suppositions about the future. So prophecy means telling what can happen in future or explaining about the future, declaring something about the future. The most fundamental supposition is that events in the future do not yet exist and cannot therefore produce effects in the present. So this is the fundamental supposition that these events yet do not exist, so they haven't taken place, and so they cannot produce effects in the present. So this is the fundamental supposition. The path of explanation that stems from this view leads necessarily to various ideas of the future as a potential that somehow exists in the present. So now the explanation that we get from this supposition is that there are certain things in the present which tells us about the future or the potentials future images that can happen. In their simplest form, these ideas follow the analogy of the seed and flower. So you can understand this first paragraph by understanding the analogy of the seed and flower. A gardener can examine a seed and predict what flower it will produce. So gardener, by just seeing the seed which is in present, can predict about the future, something which yet not existed but has some ideas or some details in the present. Some premonitions may indeed stem from clues scarcely noticed in a conscious way. Premonitions means something idea about what the future is, or something information about something bad which may happen in future is called premonition. So stem from clues scarcely noticed in a conscious way. So in a conscious way means that something which we normally see, we may not be able to see these clues, but if you see it in a proper, like in a very detailed way or in a different manner, you may find some clues to these premonitions. For example, the author is explaining, an unfamiliar noise in a car, for example, may give rise to an accurate premonition of danger. So if you can analyze this unfamiliar noise in a car, so if you are driving a car and you can see this unfamiliar noise, then you can predict that something bad may happen. The weakness of this theory in this form is that it requires of the precognizer an uncanny ability to analyze signs and indications that are not only imperceptible to the ordinary eye but also impossible to deduce theoretically. Now the author is saying that the weakness of this theory is that you get some clues in the present to analyze or predict future, that it is not possible to identify these clues in a normal way, that it requires of the precognizer an uncanny ability to analyze signs. So uncanny means something which is not natural, something which is supernatural, something which is of a higher degree. So this ability is required in a precognizer. Precognizer is the person who says something about the future or predicts something about the future. So he should have this uncanny ability to analyze signs and indications that are not perceptible to the ordinary eye. What clues in a dreamer's environment could prompt an accurate precognition of a disaster 6 months and 3,000 miles away? So this is the question that the author is asking, that what clues can in dreamer's environment, that is the precognizer who is going to predict the future, what are those clues using which he can accurately tell about the disaster which is 6 months and 3,000 miles away? Some extraordinary suggestions have been made to explain how the future may be unrealized but cognizable in the present. Something which is stated in the first paragraph as well, something which is said by that example of seed and flower. So something which is still unrealized but cognizable in the present. One such suggestion by Gerhard Dietrich Wassermann, a mathematical physicist at the University of Durham in England, is that all events exist as timeless mental patterns with which every living and non-living particle in the universe is associated. So he is saying that every event exists as timeless mental patterns. So there are certain patterns associated with all the events, and these patterns are also associated with every living and non-living particle in the universe. Now, whether they can understand these patterns, whether they can identify these patterns, is something which is still to be discussed. The idea owes something to the ancient belief that the universe, the macrocosm, so macrocosm and microcosm, these words we have already discussed earlier in some passage. So macrocosm means microcosm. So microcosm means that something which is a smaller part of a bigger thing, and macrocosm means something which is a bigger part of something which is smaller. You can understand it better when in the next lines. The macrocosm contains innumerable microcosms. So this bigger thing contains lot of smaller things which behave in a similar manner as this bigger thing, each recapitulating the features and order of the large whole. That means these microcosms are reflecting every feature and detail and order of these macrocosms. This man was seen as a microcosm of the earth, his veins and arteries corresponding to streams and rivers, and so on. By the end of the 17th century, the idea had undergone many transformations but was still potent. Potent means it was still valid, or it was still recognized by people as powerful, strong, or was still valid. The great philosopher and mathematician Baron Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz, so great big name for the mathematician, for example, wrote, all the different classes of being which taken together make up the universe are in the ideas of God, who knows distinctly their essential graduations. Graduations means, so he is saying that all the different classes of being. So people graduate from one being to another. For example, it's said that we graduated from apes to human beings. So if we take up all the classes of being which are there in the universe, God, who knows distinctly their essential graduations, only so many ordinates of a single curve so closely united that it would be impossible to place others between any two of them, since that would imply disorder and imperfection. So what he is trying, this mathematician is trying to say that every being which is there present in the universe, they are so closely linked, there is a chain which is so closely tied together that you cannot place anything other in that closed chain. So the graduation is so smooth that you cannot place anything other between any two elements or objects of the universe. Accordingly, the various orders of beings, animate and inanimate, so gradually approximate each other in their attributes and properties that they form a single chain, so closely linked one to another that it is impossible to determine precisely the point at which one ends and the next begins. As he has said here, so the idea is that they are so closely linked together that you cannot differentiate between one element and another, and as a result you cannot bring anything other in between two elements because they are so closely linked to each other. In this concept of a chain of being, then, the animate and therefore the spiritual or psychic are connected with the inanimate by graduation of shared attributes. So this graduation or this linkage is possible only if attributes are shared. Then only you cannot differentiate between or delineate between two objects. For Leibniz, the implication was that someone with enough insight would see the future in the present as in a mirror. Another version of the idea that the future lies hidden in the present was advanced by Adrian Dobbs, a mathematician and physicist at the University of Cambridge in 1965. As events unfold, he proposed they actualize a relatively small number of the possibilities for change that exist at a subatomic level. So what he proposed that as events unfold, they actualize a relatively small number of the possibilities for change that exist at a subatomic level. So there are some small number of possibilities for any change that exists at a subatomic level. So if we are able to understand the subatomic level, we can actually predict the event. In the process, disturbances are caused that create another dimension of time, or what Dobbs calls a cytonic wavefront. This wavefront can be registered by the brain's neurons, at least in certain especially sensitive people, and be interpreted. A metaphor may help to clarify the process. So now he is saying that when this event unfolds and this change happens at a subatomic level, what happens in the process? Disturbances are caused that create another dimension of time, or as Dobbs called, a cytonic wavefront. So whenever any event happens, they create a wavefront, and this wavefront can be registered by the brain's neurons, at least in certain especially sensitive people, that those people who have uncanny abilities. So someone who is a precognizer, so not everyone can be a precognizer. So someone who has the ability to understand these wave fronts or that can be registered by their brain's neurons, can interpret them and can tell the future. So he is taking an example or a metaphor. Imagine a pond at one side of which a toy ship is launched. At the other side of the pond is very small person. He is unable to see the ship. So this small person can't see the ship. So there is a person on one side of the pond and a ship is on the other side of the pond. But as the ship travels forward, the waves it makes reach the shore on which he stands. So now when this toy ship starts moving, they start creating waves, and these waves reach to this small person. So he can see the waves, but he cannot see the ship. As they travel across the pond, these waves pass around certain objects, weeds, leaves, a log, that are fixed or slowly drifting on its surface. The objects thus create disturbances in the wavefront, which the small person who has a lifetime's experience in these things is able to note in fine detail. So this person can actually read the waveform. From what he learns of the wavefronts, he not only obtains an image of the objects that produced them, but also calculates how long it will be before they drift to the shore. So now he can predict about the toy ship. He can also predict when that ship will come to the shore, and he can see the ship. That means he can predict about the disaster or an event, and he can also predict about the time. In this metaphor, the toy ship represents an event unfolding in time. So toy ship is representing the event which is unfolding in time. Its course across the pond represents one of many paths it might take and the dimension of time it occurs in. So its course, that means the path that it may take. The pond itself represents Dobbs' cytonic wavefront, and the small person is of course the neuronal apparatus that receives the wavefront and converts it to a prediction. So here if you see the Dobbs theory, so he said that any event creates cytonic wavefront, and if a person can register these wavefront, they can actually interpret the future. So this pond is wavefront, and it is read or it is interpreted and registered by this small person, and he is making it to predict about the toy ship, which is an event which is unfolding in time. So he is still not realizing it because he is not able to see it, but he can actually predict when that person or that object will come to shore and how long it will take and what that object is. Granting that Dobbs theory is purely hypothetical and that no cytonic waves has been discovered, the difficulty is in suggesting a neuronal mechanism by which the observer distinguishes the wavefront of a particular event from the presumable maelstrom of wavefronts produced by simultaneously unfolding events. Now the author is saying that though this situation is hypothetical, but the problem is that how an observer will distinguish wavefronts, because at a particular point of time there will be simultaneously unfolding events, that there will be lot of events unfolding simultaneously and all of them will be producing wavefronts. So we'll have a maelstrom of wavefronts. That means a whirlpool, or maelstrom means a whirlpool in sea or water. So because they are still discussing about this ship and pond and everything, so they are saying that lot of a whirlpool of wave fronts will be produced by these unfolding events, and how a person or an observer distinguish the wave front of a particular event is a question. Again, the further away the event is in the future, the more numerous the wave fronts and the more complex the problem. So he says that if the event is in future, they will create more, they'll have more wave fronts because there will be more number of events unfolding. So if I am looking at an event which is, let's say, 1 year down the line, so now I have a bigger time frame, so lot of events are unfolding together. If I reduce it to 1 hour down the line, so the time frame is small, so less number of events will be unfolding. Such in general are some of the theories that regard the future as being in some way a potential implicitly accessible in the present, and such are the difficulties and limitations attending them. So from this whole paragraph, whole passage, we can say that the author feels that future can be predicted, and the author is positive about this thing. He hasn't criticized this phenomena. He has shown that it is difficult, so he has analyzed the difficulty in lot of plans and physicists or scientists viewpoints, that how they are going to handle these kind of problems, and what and how we can actually overcome these problems. Now let's see the questions. So the first one is, all of the following are the intricacies of making correct premonitions except that. So out of these four, 3 are correct, 1 is incorrect. Let's see that. Extraordinary perception skills may be required, as in the car example. Okay. The future is not yet realized. Okay, this is also true. Tremendous insight is required. This is also true. So we can see that these 3 things are true. Extraordinary perception skills are required. This has been said multiple times. For example, here also you can see, especially sensitive people. The future is not yet realized. This is also said everywhere. You can see from the beginning itself, the future do not yet exist. And here also, the toy ship represents an event unfolding in time. That means it is not realized yet. So this is also correct. This is also correct. Tremendous insight is required. This can be seen from here or can be seen from other examples and cases as well. For example, here we can see the uncanny ability that is required. Not perceptible to the ordinary eye, but also impossible to deduce theoretically. Precognition and uncanny ability to analyze signs. So tremendous insight and this skill is required. Fourth one is cytonic fronts are extremely elusive and stay hidden. Now this is something which is not correct, because we can see from here that these wavefronts can be registered by the brain's neurons. So that means they are not hidden. and can be interpreted as well. So this point number D is not correct. So this is our answer. So we'll go with option number D. Second, in the toy ship example, the author is least likely to agree with the statement that, so toy ship is here. Let's read the options. It is not possible for several events to unfold simultaneously. It is possible because author has said, here you can see, the farther away the event, the more numerous the wave front, or this is actually the problem, that produced by simultaneously unfolding events. So this author will agree. Second, seemingly intangible wave fronts can be converted to tangible predictions. So this is also something which author has said. C point, or the third point, the toy ship could have followed different paths in the pond. This is also said. The pond represents one of many paths it might take. So this is also true. An analogy to Dobbs wavefront can be drawn. So with the toy ship, obviously an analogy to Dobbs wavefront is formed. That's what they started with. So this is also true. Now we need, since we can easily find out that A, C and D are totally true from the passage, we can say that option number B is not correct, which is seemingly intangible wavefronts can be converted to tangible predictions. Let's see that again. Let's just see it again a minute. So it is not possible for several events to unfold simultaneously. Actually, so I missed this not word. So actually the author is saying that it is possible produced by simultaneously unfolding events. So it is possible for multiple events to unfold simultaneously. So this is something which author will not agree, or least likely to agree. Seemingly intangible wavefronts can be converted to tangible predictions. This is something which is happening everywhere. So this is also correct. This we have seen. This is also true. This is also true. So the correct answer is option number A to this question. Third, which of the following is not correct as per the passage? Leibniz was not ready to superimpose other beings on the chain of being. So this is true. We can see here from Leibniz thing. All the different classes of being which taken together only of us so closely united that it would be impossible to place others between any two of them. So Leibniz was not ready to superimpose other beings on the chain of being. So this is true. Leibniz was convinced that animate beings resemble only animate ones. This is something which is not correct, because he said, here you can see, therefore the spiritual or psychic are connected with the inanimate by a graduation of shared attributes. So that means they are sharing attributes. So animate beings are also sharing attributes with the inanimate. So this one is not right. Let's see the third one as well. Animate beings as per Leibniz share attributes with inanimate ones. This is correct. We have just mentioned it there. So the correct answer is option number B in this case. Let's move to the fourth one. The word uncanny in the passage specifically refers to, so uncanny is written here. So if I see here that it requires of the precognizer an uncanny ability to analyze signs and indications that are not only imperceptible to the ordinary eye but also impossible to deduce theoretically. So this is the reason why uncanny ability is needed, because a normal man cannot analyze signs and indications. So let's see something here. The innumerable microcosms, each recapitulating the features and order of the large whole. So microcosms and macrocosm was actually discussed here, was not even discussed at that particular point of passage. So this is not correct, though this is factually correct, but this is not why uncanny is used in the passage. The ability to analyze symptoms and indications that are not visible to the ordinary eye. This is something which is clearly said here in this line, which is highlighted. So this can be our answer. C. Dobbs' version of the idea that the future lies hidden in the present. Dobbs was not even discussed till this point of time. Dobbs was discussed here. So here you can see. So this is also not correct. Some premonitions which surely originate from hints hardly noticed in a conscious way. So this again, so all these points may be true, but they are not why uncanny is used. So as highlighted in this line as well. So the correct answer will be option number B. Fifth, the central idea being followed in the passage is regarding the impossibility of deducing the nature of the future in the present, the impossibility of analyzing the causal link between future and the present, the complex nature of the causal link between the future and the present, the scientific way of enjoying the future and the present. So in the whole passage, author has never said impossibility. He has always said about difficulties, limitations, and in nowhere in the passage author has said that it is impossible. So he is discussing all the scientific ways, methods, and trying to identify things, but he has never said that it is impossible. So impossibility is not right. So these 2 points are wrong. The scientific way of enjoying the future and the present, this is also not the crux of the passage. Author is discussing about the difficulties and limitations. So I think, and I'll go with option number C as the correct answer to this question. So that completes the passage and the explanation. I hope you have enjoyed the passage and the explanation. If you have enjoyed it, please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with as many friends as you have. And that is the only source of motivation that we are looking. So if we see more number of people watching it, if we see more number of people subscribing to our channel, we'll come up with more videos, we'll come up with more series, and we'll keep on uploading them and on a regular basis. That's it guys. Thank you. Enjoy your day.